Welcome to the La Dolce Vita Show, a woman's guide to living a fearless and fabulous life. My name is Heather Pickin, and I am here to give you that winning formula so that you can get clear on your vision, stay true to your values, and break through those mental walls. Check out my free resources at heatherpickin.com. This podcast is brought to you by Fierce Femme Wine, a woman's wine that inspires dialogue for change. Visit fiercefemme.com. So let's get ready as we uncover the formula to your success in business, career, and fabulous life. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the La Dolce Vita Show, a woman's guide to a fearless and fabulous life. Man, that is always a mouthful when I say that. Woo! I got to pause. In this show, really, my vision is always about empowering women to break through their fear, no matter if it's in their business or career, because if you don't know how to balance the other areas of your life, it definitely is going to dramatically impact how you're making money, how you're showing up. And I'm so excited to have my guest today, Diane Randall. Now, I've got this great little book in my hand right now. If you're watching on video, you can go over to heatherpickin.com. And of course, I'll put this in the show notes. It's called Jumpstart Your Life. And the subtitle is Find Your Motivation and Change Your Life One Step at a Time, One Step at a Time. And so I want to share a little bit about Diane, but it's interesting. It's like, I hate reading bios because I like to extract that information into the conversation. But as I was reading your bio, one of the interesting things about Diane, not only is she an author, obviously, consultant, college instructor, professional speaker, but she's also into nutrition, and she's been on radio shows and TV shows, including the Oprah show. Okay, so that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. I want to hear that story in a bit. And today, Diane, wow, this is such a great book. I mean, anyone, I believe, any woman or anyone can use this book as it kind of as a roadmap. I like the fact that you're talking about one step at a time. And I really want to dive into the conversation today about getting out of your comfort zone, right? And how important that is. So thank you so much for being my guest today.
And thank you for having me, Heather.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And everyone that's listening over to iTunes, here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at the show notes, or if you're listening to this either on YouTube or heatherpickin.com, there will be a link to grab Diane's book. Okay. So I like to promote my guests on this show. And I truly believe, you can never read enough books. You can never do enough work on yourself. It is an ongoing process. So we're going to have fun today. We're really going to jump right into this as your book talks about. And so let's talk about this concept where, and I want to talk about like women entrepreneurs. Let's start there. And they tend to get very overwhelmed and like, what I should do. And I've got this lofty goal, and where do I start? So I know you talk about like your first rule in this book is start where you are. So I was wondering if you could share a little bit about that and what that means to you.
Well, what that means is start where you are, because we show up at different places in our lives. And what I mean by that is you don't have to be in a certain place to start improving your life and getting out of your comfort zone. So it's about, okay, where am I versus what do I want to do? What is the reality of my life, and where do I want to take it? It's doing that inner assessment as well as outer assessment to see exactly where you are in your life. And it doesn't matter if you're not perfect, if you have a lot of issues that you're trying to heal from. It's just about starting where you are and moving forward from there.
Oh, thanks. So I don't have to be perfect.
No, no. I always say we're perfectly imperfect. Okay.
So true. And I also think, women, we can be so hard on ourselves. Like we have these ambitious goals, but yet we tend to criticize ourselves. So I think this first step is just kind of accepting where you're at.
Accepting right where you are, accepting it. And then once you accept things, then you can free yourself up to move to the next step.
I love that. Let's tie that into, let's say, because I do work with a lot of women entrepreneurs. So if they have a lofty goal, they have a lofty money goal, and they just kind of feel stuck in a rut and they're beating themselves up, that would be step one. And, obviously they have to take action, right? They have to, mentally wrap their mind around taking the action. But what about, one of the most important things that you talk about in this book is getting out of the like your comfort zone. So kind of share with me maybe some scenarios and what that means to you when you're talking about getting out of your comfort zone.
I'll tell you what that means. That whole book and statements was based on the premise of my earlier life as a single divorced mom working in a career. No, I really didn't have a career at that time. It was wanting to move to another city with two small children and to improve my career, to actually just pursue all the entrepreneurial goals that I had for myself. Keep in mind, I was newly divorced. I had no money, but I had all these ideas about what I wanted to do. And the first thing was to move to a different city that I felt could support me in what I wanted for myself. So stepping out of your comfort zone is about stepping out of what's comfortable and into whatever you need to do to start stepping into whatever's going to empower you with the life that you desire. And a lot of times that is making hard choices about your current situation. For example, for me, that meant I'd have to move away and leave my family, leave my support system to a city where I had no family and no support system. But from a business standpoint, it was going to serve me better in that way by making that move. So it's not an easy process, and I'm not advocating that it is, but it's being brave enough to empower yourself to move in a direction that may not be comfortable, but inside you're uncomfortable because you feel that there's something missing. There's a gut feeling that, oh my God, there's something more I can do. There's something missing from my life. And it's checking into that and really determining and deciding, what does that mean? And in my experience, for me, it meant, wow, I just need to leave my hometown and move to another city that could support my goals and dreams for having a business and a career.
Wow. That I'm sure that story, a lot of women can relate to that, especially moving to a different city, having kids, like going through a divorce. I mean, that is a major change. I mean, there's no wonder why that you wrote this book, because, you got through it yourself. So my question is, take us back to that time where you made the decision. After you made that decision, did you feel 100% comfortable, or were you still feeling uneasy? Because you have to make the decision first, which feels
I was very uneasy. I was very uneasy through the whole process. And really, it just took a lot. I think my drive, my wanting something different really overrode the fear that I had. The idea of staying in my comfort zone at the time was much more painful, if you could say that, to stay where I was and not do something different with my life. That wanting was very strong inside of me, and I feel that we all have that, whether we acknowledge it or experience it or do something about it. We all have that. But for me, it was very strong, very powerful, to the point where it affected me in my life, where I was depressed. I just felt that staying in the sameness of what I was used to was driving me nuts. You know, I really, really, really wanted to step into a different life. And keep in mind, I didn't have any family that I was going to move with. I'm taking my babies at the time, and I'm just going to trust. And that's where you have to get to. Trust that it'll all work itself out. But that's a tough call. It's a tough call, you know, to really trust. But for me, just the idea of staying the same was more painful than taking that step into a different life.
Yeah, I totally get that. I definitely had situations in my life where I was feeling uneasy, and you know, it's interesting when you mention the word trust, because I think a lot of women, they don't trust themselves enough, even if they have that intuitive feeling, to take that next step. Because you were talking about it, it's all about feeling uncomfortable, knowing that you want something, like what you want is so outside of your comfort zone. So
Yeah.
after you made this decision where you're like, okay, I want to do this, you've moved, how did you like operate on a day-to-day basis, like really staying in your power and not crumbling?
Well, let me tell you what happened. I'm so glad you asked that question. I've always believed in intention. I've always believed in setting an intention, and if you're truly aligned with that intention, the world, the universe will unfold in ways you just have no idea. So what happened was, it took me a whole year to find work, because I said to myself, I need a job. I need a job that's going to pay me enough to enable me to take care of my children and live at that time, just a middle-class life in Chicago. So that was, in my mind at the time, that's the problem I had to solve. Get the job that pays me enough so I can move to Chicago and start my new life. Well, I looked and looked and looked for a year, lots of, challenges, recruiters telling me, oh, why would you move to Chicago, and why would they recruit you from, where St. Louis, where I was living at the time, when there was a big market there? I mean, I had all reasons around me not to go. My family was in an uproar because, my kids were really little at the time, but I just stayed true to what I really, really wanted for myself, because staying where I was just not an option anymore. And it's just how I felt at the time. So I found, not only did I find work, because I just focused on that for a whole year. And I'm not saying it was just focused, oh my God, it showed up, but going back and forth from Chicago to St. Louis, just all the travel, all the rejection, that I got, when you try to start a new career. But I said to myself, I only need one job. I guess I had all these internal affirmations to keep myself going. I said, I need one job. I got that job. So not only did I find a job, I found a job that packed me and my family up in St. Louis. It put us up in a hotel for 30 days, and I got a $10,000 bonus when I showed up at the door. I mean, I showed up in Chicago really great, but I got laid off a year later. And I had never been laid off before, so it really shocked me. So I got into bed, because here it comes, and I've been blessed to have people around me that will not let me feel sorry for myself. They bring me so much positive energy that my friend was like, get up out of that bed. You've never been laid off before? Come on, you got interviews to do. You got things to do. So I get up and I get up out of the bed, I interview, and I found a career that has lasted me to this day. I worked for this German software company, and then I became an entrepreneur where I would go and do the consulting work So I've been able to have this business for over 25 years. And the business allows me to do not only consulting, teaching, as well as change management for companies. So it has been an awesome, awesome unfolding, not without its challenges, because life has challenges. But I would say what my success was, when I fell down, I just got up and picked up where I left off.
Mm.
And keep in mind, I had children. They had to go to school. So it wasn't that it was a perfect situation. It's just that it has unfolded in a way that has allowed me to move and grow and raise my family over the past 20-something years. So I would say for me, I just stuck to what I really, really wanted, no matter what.
Wow. I just want to reiterate that, because I know some women are listening to this right now. Maybe they're looking for a job, or maybe they're looking to go to the next level of their business and they just feel stuck. And just the fact that, it took you an entire year to find a job and you just persisted is so amazing. And then you have this other bump in the road where you get laid off and you're like, oh, great. Now I have to, work with this, but you did. And then now you're in a place where you're absolutely loving what you're doing. And if you were to give any words of wisdom, when you look at that journey and where you came from and where you're at right now, what would you tell women that are just feeling like they're struggling with just, like things aren't working out, and they really have this bigger goal in their business or career?
Well, what I would say is to give yourself permission to fail. Give yourself permission to do things that may not be acceptable to others. Because a lot of times when I feel our life journey, no matter who we're with or what we're doing, it's really our life journey. And I think a lot of women, we give our power to everybody else except ourselves. So it's finding a way, in a loving and kind way, to communicate authentically and honestly about what you need and what you want. That's the first thing we have to learn to do, I feel.
I love that.
And then with that said, it's acknowledging and really going inside and figuring out, what do I really want? And once you figure out what you really want, it's like, what little small step can you take? And stepping out of your comfort zone is very uncomfortable. But I say, and I say in the book, if you're scared and afraid, do it anyway, because the fear means that you're standing in your own strength. You are learning how to stand in your own strength and be empowered in your life. And the tough part of this is that many people won't like it because it's different. You're shaking up your life's apple cart, you know what I mean? Sometimes if you think about that goal, for me, it meant, oh my God, I got to move. I got to leave my family, my immediate family behind. I'm leaving my safety net, my babysitters, I'm leaving my friends. I'm leaving all these things to go to a place where I have no friends, no family, no safety net, no network for my kids. But you know what? I knew that that's what I needed and wanted at that time, for me to step out of what I was comfortable with and into a life that truly supported what I wanted for myself, my goals and dreams, and starting my business years ago. And all that has supported me and allowed me to evolve every day. Now, that's not to say there aren't challenges, there aren't bumps in the road, but things show up, you get back to it as soon as you can. I have grown my practice for many, many years. And the idea that you're going to be wealthy as soon as you open the door is a myth. It's not true.
Thank you.
It takes a while. It takes a while. And for me, and what I can say today is that The more I learned, the more I grew, the more I healed myself from the inside out, I was able to show up more in my life, and things just started changing for the better. And each time I had a challenge, it did not affect me the way it did the last time I had a challenge. So I've learned that things happen. We may go in one direction and that may not work. It's not about giving up. It's about trying something new and seeing if that will work, and having the courage and the bravery and the confidence. And even if you don't have confidence, it's the practice of confidence every day until you start taking your life in the direction that you want.
What a great story, because I think we, especially as women, we learn through stories of other women that have been through challenges, and there is a formula for success. It's like you cannot give up. I like what you said earlier about giving yourself permission. I find a lot of women don't do that. And knowing that you're always going to feel uncomfortable as you get to the next level. I don't think there's a moment of, when I'm stretching myself, I'm always feeling uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this? I'm like, no, I definitely do. So Diane, with the few minutes left that we have, I know you had said earlier, and you talk about it in your book, about intention and how important that is. What would you recommend the best strategies as far as setting intentions for, let's just say, for the day?
Well, what I like to say is, when you open your eyes in the morning, before you jump out of bed, it's just opening your eyes and pausing and visualizing what you want your day to be like. How will you align your day with the goals that you want for yourself? What will you need to do in that day to support yourself in accomplishing whatever goals or vision that you want? So it's about, and I'm talking a few minutes in the morning, and creating that day and seeing yourself as the person you really, really want to be. And it's practicing that. Maybe if you don't do it every day, but it's the practice every day of seeing yourself in the life that you truly, truly want for yourself. And even if you don't have it all figured out, it's even saying, whatever's coming forward in that moment about your life changing, it's accepting and embracing that wanting for change, and then figuring out, because nobody knows exactly what they want to do. I didn't have it all figured out, but it's about, and I share this with women, is that it's allowing yourself, it's opening your mind and your heart to something different. Not, oh, I'm going to disappoint the kids, I'm going to disappoint the husband, I'm going to disappoint mom, I'm going to disappoint my boyfriend. It's about just, what do I need? What do I want for myself? What do I truly, truly want? And it's not selfish. It's self-honoring to give yourself what you truly want. It's self-honoring, because the more you give to yourself, there's happiness, there's joy, and then you're showing up in a big way for everybody around you.
I love it. Oh, so beautiful. And I love the fact that you mentioned like visualizing your success. I think that is so critical. And the last thing I want to talk about, and I think this is really important, I know this is something that you do, is getting a mentor or coach when you can't get out of your own way. I find all too often women think they can do everything on their own, and they don't ask for help. So just talk about that a little bit, the importance of getting a mentor or coach.
Well, it's critical, because sometimes when you get stuck, it's not just a minute. You can be stuck for years. So I've had a practice in my own life, and I try to be that consultant or that counselor or coach who says, I want to help you work through this so that this is not your reality for the next 10 years or 5 years or 6 months. It's where are you stuck? Maybe it's some hurt that came forward and you just can't shake it. So it's taking all of your energy. You have no vision right now because you're dealing with that past stuff that came up. It's about working with a coach. It's about working with whatever coach professional you need to help you walk through and navigate whatever that upset is. I call it an upset because it's something right there that you need to not get over, but navigate through. And you need the proper coach or the proper professional to help you navigate and walk through that process so that you can get to the next step. I've had lots of moments where, and I've hired coaches specifically for what I'm needing at the time. And that could be 6 weeks, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, whatever I'm needing to navigate in that moment. Because once you're stuck, you don't know what to do. So sometimes you need that objective third party to help you navigate through whatever you're experiencing in that moment, because it's blocking you from moving forward.
Yes, absolutely. I want the women to hear this. Like, don't be wasting your time. You can never get your time back. So you're going to pay in some form. You might as well invest in a coach, accelerate the rate in which you are breaking through those issues, whether it be in your business or any of your life. It is the best investment, period. So I totally appreciate that. Diane, thank you so much for being my guest today.
And Heather, thank you so much for having me and allowing me to share my story and to share all the things that I've learned on my journey to supporting others in living a life that they truly want.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And I want everyone to know, if you're over at iTunes or wherever you're watching or listening, there are links in the show notes, and you can also go to DianeRandallConsultants.com. Don't worry if you can't spell that, because I will have it in the link, no matter where you're listening to this. And I encourage everyone to go ahead and pick up her book. I'm going to show it again here on the camera, Jumpstart Your Life. Real quick about this book. What I like about this book, it's so easy to get through, but yet so powerful with some of the tools that she's sharing, and the actual tangible things that you can do. So again, jumpstart your life, people. and that's it. That's it for me. My role in this show is all about being your fearless guide. And I encourage everyone to do one thing today that is going to challenge you out of your comfort zone, to get you to that next level. Take care, everyone. Until next time, this is Heather Pickin. Bye-bye. So if you like what you hear on this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe. Interested in becoming a sponsor or learning more about leadership for women's performance using neuroscience or business coaching, contact support@heatherpickin.com. And don't forget to grab my latest book, The La Dolce Vita Formula, by going to fearlessandfabulousbook.com. That's fearlessandfabulousbook.com.